We have some major updates regarding the Toronto Raptors as well as Bruce Brown as we inch closer and closer to this year's trade deadline on our quest to deal away our most likely trade chip ahead of this year's trade deadline, because one potential suitor is now basically off the table, has been rumored and linked over the past few days, past weeks since we acquired Bruce Brown. We also have more details revealed regarding the Raptors trade they just made this morning, acquiring Kelly Olynyk as well as Ochai Agbaji from the Utah Jazz. So lots of stuff to dive into because, again, things are heating up. We got bombs coming out left, right, and center. This is a trade deadline. I don't think a lot of people would be crazy, but it is in wild starting off, and we still have hours to go. So what's the latest updates? What's the latest news regarding the Toronto Raptors? And also, if you want to stay up to date with everything, we're dropping videos almost hourly here on the Raptors Digest. So if you're part of the 56% that haven't subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. But what's going on right now for the Toronto Raptors? Because after that trade, that, bomb that dropped this morning where the Raptors received Kelly Olynyk, Ochai Agbaji, as well as dealing away Otto Porter Jr., Kira Lewis, as well as a 2024 first-round pick, we have some details in terms of Bruce Brown's future. So basically, immediately after this, we had a report come out from Woj, or this is coming out this morning. I got things in the wrong order here right now, but basically the Raptors are motivated to allow Bruce Brown to go play for a more competitive team, according to Adrian Wojnarowski. The Toronto remains in talks with the New York Knicks and other contenders. Well, that team, the New York Knicks, is now off the table, but also Josh Lewenberg revealed that the Raptors aren't done dealing. Bruce Brown remains the most likely player to be moved before the 3 p.m. trade deadline. A couple of factors complicating talks, though the Rats aren't inclined to add another 2024 first-round pick. Their preference would be a 2025 or beyond, and they've been reluctant to take on long-term money. So that's been the stuff that's holding up potential trades, why we're waiting to the very end. And in this report from Woj, that came down on his podcast, discussed how it's going to go up to the final hour. But that might be biting the Toronto Raptors in the back right now, because our main trade suitor, the main team we're in talks and negotiations with now, is pretty well off the tables. The Knicks just traded away Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, and Malachi Flynn, the Crimson Flynn, on another team in, 2 weeks. Basically, they dealt away in 2 second-round picks to acquire Alec Burks as well as Bojan Bogdanovic. Now, what does that mean? Well, the Knicks don't have interest in Bruce Brown now at this point. It wouldn't make sense for them to. They just acquired a load of shooting at that position. Bruce Brown obviously can space the floor, brings a little bit of defense, but they also have Josh Hart eating up those types of minutes. They have a lot of guys sort of on that wing now. Quentin Grimes is a loss for them, but he wasn't playing too much run. I know they want some defense. I know they want to fortify that sort of defensive strength with Julius Randle as well as OG Anunoby out. But I think if they're making another move, it's going to be for someone bigger, like at least in size and defensive strength, than a Bruce Brown, rather than another guy that plays that same position. Because, I know they dealt away RJ and now Quentin Grimes, at this point. I guess Malachi Flynn and Ryan Arcidiacono, in terms of their twos here now at this point, but they have Josh Hart already kind of in that spot. DiVincenzo has been playing out of his mind lately for the New York Knicks, and now they've added Bojan Bogdanovic as well as Alec Burks. So, frankly, the Knicks absolutely swindled the Detroit Pistons in this trade. Quentin Grimes does have some potential, but he was disgruntled with the New York Knicks. But the fact that they got Bojan and Burks, the two best shooters in the Detroit Pistons, maybe that's an exaggeration, but going to be two of the top shooters now in the New York Knicks, coming in on that group, two top shooters. Brunson's good, OG, and I'm using superlatives out there, throwing them out there like crazy. But basically what this means to the Toronto Raptors is Bruce Brown is very unlikely going to get dealt to the New York Knicks, and they've been the main team linked to Bruce Brown. Now, we've heard a ton of reports, a ton of things come out regarding this Toronto Raptors team in terms of teams like the Dallas Mavericks, teams like the LA Lakers, teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, the Denver Nuggets, all being squads interested in picking up Bruce Brown here now at this point. Other contenders are interested in Brown, and it seems like these trades are coming out of left field here now at this point. All the discussions that got leaked, are posturing and stuff, and now the actual deals are coming. It's popping up from random places. I mean, the deal with the Utah Jazz, obviously Jake Fisher, he's been hitting on a lot of stuff lately. I know he's had some misses in the past, but holy smokes, he has been getting the inside scoop on a lot of these reports. Called the Kelly Olynyk as well as Ochai Agbaji to the Toronto Raptors. We'll see where these deals end up coming from. But given the fact, this Woj report said the Raptors are motivated to get a deal done, then I think it's happening. I think a deal is still going down. Some people are speculating the Raptors may have overplayed their hand, hoping for a first and stuff like that from the Toronto Raptors. From other teams, the Knicks were willing to offer it, but wanted Fournier's contract. They weren't willing to give us Grimes in this potential package, and it makes sense why, because they were in negotiations with the Pistons for this other deal for Bojan as well as Alec Burks, but I don't know. Is that mystery team the Knicks, or is another team out there willing to give us a first round pick? That's the real question in terms of what's going on. And basically, this report coming from Woj discussed how the Raptors weren't willing to add another 2024 pick. We already traded one. So maybe that's Masai Ujiri's way of, playing the chessboard and saying, hey, I see two prospects, here in this, NBA draft. Maybe we deal away one of our later ones, and then we have another sort of position. So we don't have 5 picks. With the Raptors potentially there, the Pacers, the one that we just traded, as well as the Pistons, and then whatever you get for Bruce Brown. So that's sort of a move Masai Ujiri could be made. And we also have officially announced in terms of the trade, the pick that was in the Toronto Raptors deal, in the Kelly Olynyk Agbaji deal. Basically, the 2024 first round pick that was announced in that trade is the pick that's basically the worst of the Oklahoma City Thunder, the LA Clippers, the Utah Jazz, and Houston Rockets. So again, the pick that's going to be like 28th in the NBA draft. So not a huge loss there. Makes that deal even look that much better for Toronto Raptors fans. But I am really intrigued about where we could expect Bruce Brown to potentially go now at this point. Is Masai Ujiri losing leverage at this point? Because, one of the major sort of competitors on the Bruce Brown trade market is out of the mix. I haven't heard too many reports come out revealing otherwise in terms of potential other destinations. Again, I can't look away from my phone. I just, when I'm doing these vids, man, it's that time of year. Things are just going crazy. But I also want to address some concerns that have come up, with this Raptors group. Because, again, we are loaded at that shooting guard position right now. So will Gary Trent Jr. end up getting dealt? Will Dennis Schroeder get moved? I mean, I feel like after bringing in Agbaji, you can't have a backcourt filled with Schroeder, Brown, Wara, Quickly, RJ, Agbaji, Grady Dick, as well as, we're loaded at that guard position now. So moves have to happen. We're still thin at the power forward position. It still seems like Boucher's getting dealt. Still seems like things are going to happen. So I speculate these moves are going to go down. And people are also concerned because, the tank is a thing. People are pushing for that tank for the Toronto Raptors, and that Agbaji as well as Kelly Olynyk deal, has some people worried that the tank might not still be in full effect. I don't know. I think the moves that happen for the rest of today will be the major indicators in terms of what the Toronto Raptors are going to pursue in the future in terms of winning games and not. But keep it locked to Raptors Digest, because we're going to keep you up to date with all of the latest Toronto Raptors news. Anyways, you guys are the best. It's going to be a wild one. I mean, that Kelly Olynyk trade had me absolutely fired up earlier in this one. I don't know. The Knicks trade, shout out to them for absolutely finessing the Detroit Pistons. Sucks for the Toronto Raptors that it might hurt our leverage in terms of making moves, but it's going to come down to the wire. Masai Ujiri's making moves. I wouldn't be shocked if, as of recording, a deal just happened. So turn your noties on for Raps Digest and all of our other Digest channels to keep locked on all that stuff going on. Anyways, I'm signing out. Cheers.